Hey, it's Don with Focused Healthy Family. Welcome to Send Back Saturday, where we review a podcast from the past. And today, we have another one. I hope you enjoy. Take care.
We're looking at the possibility of moving, and so we decided to start cleaning out different areas of our home.
Decluttering.
We have lived here for 22 years, and we have raised 3 children here.
One birthed here.
2 were born since we moved here, and we have accumulated things.
Yeah, today the lady, when I was talking to her, she asked me about how long our youngest had lived at this household, and I said 1/8/2009. She goes, no, when did they come home from the hospital? And I said 1/8/2009. He was born here in the house. She went, oh wow. But she thought it was cool too at the same time. Anyway.
And so we actually have some things from our middle child who's moved out a year ago, and she has boxed some things up because she moved from a bigger space to a smaller space. So we have some of her things. Where she lives now, she didn't need the washer and dryer she had purchased. So it is now, we moved the washer into our basement, and we have an extra washer now.
Should we show
Yes.
We can give you a general idea of the clutter so far.
All the cleaning out.
Hard to even see all that corner over there with
collecting boxes from. You can go get free boxes to be able to start boxing things up. And all this is kind of pending some things. So there's a lot of decluttering going on. And when we talk about decluttering,
memories come up and past things that are just really cool. You know, it's hard not to get stuck sitting there going through memories and not getting the work done too. It's kind of a fun dilemma, I guess you'd say. You know, you want to because it's so cool that, like, for instance, I found the little bubble gum wrapper. I think you probably had it in your purse. And when
we first met,
we were sitting outside the bar that we had came out of, and I asked you if you wanted to go out sometime.
I gave you my number because I wanted to learn more about the Big Brothers and Big Sisters program, because you told me how you were involved with Big Brothers, and I was interested in that. So I was willing to give you my phone number to find out more about that.
So you wrote your number down, and we had talked about that evening. That's how we kind of connected, was talking about the Quantum Leap, the show.
TV show.
And of course, there's Al and Sam.
Sam, yes. Al is the hologram that talks to Sam. Sam is the one traveling about in time. And so that night we went from the restaurant we were meeting up with. We met through a singles group.
Catholic singles group.
And we went from the restaurant to a bar, and there was a mirror at the one bar, and we were joking around that who were you now? We kind of playing up this whole quantum leap thing. Because he travels in time and he goes into different people's bodies. So when he looks in the mirror, he sees somebody different.
Yeah, but if you remember, it really happened at the restaurant when we first met. You were sitting across from me, and the lady, yes. Mary, I think was her name.
She asked me, she said, are you a part of this group? And so my response was, no, I'm a hologram. And that sparked a conversation between Don and I about Quantum Leap, because it was an active show at the time and we were both big fans of it.
So by the time it got to where because I drove from the restaurant to the bar with yourself and 2 other people, but they took off. And so it was you and I'd asked you you would give me your number for the Big Brothers, like you talked about. But in it, you wrote your name, and then in parentheses, you put Al. But I thought the parenthesis was a C, and I said, what is this Cal? Is that your middle name? Or and then you told me that it was about Al.
So you found this bubblegum wrapper with my phone number
and a file that I had made with some memories and letters that we'd written to each other and stuff like that. So
It's been very interesting. I started clearing out books and then our big game closet. If you're watching on YouTube or if you're listening to this, you can check out a little touch of our basement clutter. We started going through games, and my youngest was doing this with me and finding games we forgot we had, games we don't know if we've ever played. And then we also have a collection of puzzles.
You want to show it?
And so this is a challenge. It's from Jigsaw Toys, and they're oddly shaped pieces, but somehow this all fits together, if I remember right.
Have we ever been able to put it back together?
So the family, our son and his girlfriend, came over a couple days ago, and everyone has been trying to figure out how this thing goes together. My son and I searched online, like, we've got to be able to find a picture of this puzzle or find about solutions for it. It was, now we're going to lose pieces of the puzzle. And
I'll get that when we're done.
We haven't been able, I mean, there are just all different kinds of shapes, and it's more
shapes and colors.
It's not just tanagrams, because there are curved shapes.
Anagrams. I didn't know that term.
Well, tanagrams are all geometric shapes, straight lines that you kind of put together. We have a whole collection of foam pieces. Where's the piece that dropped?
I'll get it when we get done. It's on the floor.
And so memories and stories as we declutter. One other quick short story. A friend of mine gave me the Fly Lady book, Finally Loving Yourself. So it's all about decluttering. And I remember telling somebody about it, and I said, but I've lost the book. I don't know where it is.
We like that we'll come up with it. It's buried somewhere. And hello, this is Don.
And this is Gina.
With Focused Healthy Family. And today we're at podcast number 70, and we're talking about clearing out clutter. But before we get into that, we want to give a little word from our sponsor.
Our sponsor is Q Sciences. I've been a representative for Q Sciences for over a year. I found this company through a friend and did some research and reading about these products. And I really like what I found when I learned about them. The research and time that they've put into the quality of these products to be better absorbed into the body. Things like the vitamin D spray. Our youngest was on a capsule vitamin D, and yet vitamin D levels remained the same with follow-up checkups. And with the spray, it increased
pretty strong.
Almost double.
Yeah.
And I mean, we're talking her levels were maybe 20. And I want to say they went up to 47 or something around that range. And the sleep spray is another great one. It's got melatonin, 5-HTP, and I believe another herbal supplement in there. And because it's a spray, you spray it on your tongue, it gets absorbed more quickly into your body to be more effective, to help you in the moment. We're using the B12 spray. We've used the vitamin C spray. They have a Q Max product, which is a multivitamin.
And they also have the CBD, different, a variety of different.
It's full spectrum oils. They even have a THC free version. It comes in different flavors. There is a mushroom.
Oh yeah.
Armor. It's called Q Armor. It's a powder, and I get the chai flavor. Put it in my chai tea for a double chai drink.
So instead of, as they say, flushing your supplements down, the toilet or the drain, you want to get something like this that's fully absorbed. It's like flushing money down the toilet too, if you're not using a supplement that absorbs well and does well for your body. So that's what Q Science is really about. It's a good, well absorbed, high nutrient product.
They have multiple products. They have child specific products. They now also have some facial cream products. I've been using a night cream to minimize the effects of sunlight and stress and aging on my skin. And they have a hemp lotion. That's also a wonderful product that we've tried. So check us out, learn more. You can find the link at our website.
www.focusedhealthyfamily.com. You can also go to focusedhealthyfamily.com/Q sciences, the letter Q and sciences.
With an S at the end.
With the S at the end, yes. And we're back.
Talking about clutter. We've been talking about prepping our house for a possible move and the 22 years of accumulation we have acquired. We have so many bookshelves full of books and games and toys. And for years, I held on to things. Our oldest and youngest child are 11 years apart. I remember when the youngest was born and we started pulling out toddler toys. And so our other kids were 11 and 7 when she was born. And we pulled out these baby toys and they're like, oh, I remember this. And they were having fun playing with these little baby and toddler toys because they hadn't seen them in a long time. They'd been stored away. And now we're doing that again and realizing there's a lot we can let go of now that our youngest is 14. And if we're going to possibly downsize a little bit, we have a little bit too many things to hold on to.
Yes.
I'm sort of a holdout for some of our classic toys, and in the hopes of someday that I become a grandparent, having some of these classic toys that, you know, our kids played with to then pass on.
Well, and I think want to talk about not only decluttering the space, but decluttering the mind, because when we go through a transition like this, and like I said, we have to shrink down. We're shrinking down, you know, really because we are getting older and we have less kids here at home. But it's important because there's a lot of confusion right now. You got a lot to go through as far as in thought process. We're having to look at selling a house, buying another house, closing times, matching that up, dealing with all the frustration of looking at houses and then being able to bid and get it before somebody else does, or all of that kind of challenge, I guess, as you would say.
So no matter what kind of challenge you have going on, if you've got a lot of clutter going on up here, all these different thoughts, it weighs heavily on you and can make it more difficult to make decisions and to move forward.
So it's a matter of beginning by
excuse me,
starting out, getting rid of, trying to move past the negative messages because they're not helping you. And right now, I know I can say very proudly that I have a lot of those going on right now, and I'm working through trying to change them because of financial issues, just the how to and all the details of what we have to do is a lot, on top of still, like, we're still dealing with, you know, your father and the aging parent that needs help, and so it's a lot. So the first part I always work on when I'm working with a client is working on just first off just recognizing these messages that are not serving you. And because we both believe in the idea of law of attraction. So as you think, so you create. And that the tough part about that idea is the fact of we tend to think, oh, I made that thought, it's going to automatically create it. But that's not necessarily true. So I don't know where I'm going necessarily with this, but
so recognizing the negative thoughts you have, noticing them, acknowledging them, recognizing the feeling you have,
well, and accepting
them in order to move past it, to move forward. And that's where EFT tapping is so helpful in recognizing,
being able to work through the negative messages as you're doing the tapping. And that's what it's about.
And I know I've read different things about how if you want to clear your mind, clean up your space, and vice versa, it helps. It changes energy. And I think the reason I'm so congested is we have this ceiling to floor bookshelf that was full of the games, and I dusted it.
Yeah.
And house cleaning is not my area of expertise or priority. I've not put priority in that, so I don't know the last time the shelf got cleaned.
Luckily, our bed is on the floor, otherwise we'd have dust bunnies.
And so that's the one thing I know I'm allergic to,
Yeah.
is dust mites. So as I'm clearing up that clutter, it's sort of, I took it in. I had the idea to wear a mask, and yet I did not. And like you said, moving energy around. So now I'm looking at this stacks of things in what used to be our open area in the basement. And okay, now we need to identify what we're going to sell, what we're going to donate, what we're going to keep. I love our youngest made a spreadsheet of the games and shared it with her siblings.
Well, she actually made what do you call it? Not a quiz,
A poll.
a poll, I guess, of what, and asked what games do you want to keep, sell, or you don't care. And she listed out a good majority of our games. I don't know if you list out every one of them, but each person could then vote on which ones they wanted to keep or sell or do or not, or if they didn't care, kind of thing. I thought that was, she's always doing that. She comes up with such great ideas and then makes them happen, you know.
She actually remembered when my parents moved their big house in the lake to closer to us. She was 5, and we were busy helping them. They had movers, but we were taking smaller items and bringing them up from that house and helping them get settled. And we gave her a clipboard and told her she was like, I forget, we gave her a title of some sort. And she remembered how she was walking around purposely with a clipboard. And I said, yeah, we did that to keep you occupied. You needed something to do and to feel important.
Yeah,
And
I think we called it like a supervisor or something like that.
that sounds familiar. So we kind of laughed about that, and she understood now at 14, as a 5-year-old, we had to keep her busy.
Well, can you remember some of the points of that fly book? I remember one was doing 15-minute increments, wasn't it?
That's something, setting a timer for 15 minutes and be like, okay, for the next 15 minutes, I'm going to focus on cleaning out this one area. And there's a lot of helpful things, doing that is an idea. I motivated myself. Lexi and I started watching the X-Files, the old TV show from the 90s. And I said, okay, we're going to watch one show and then we're going to work and clean up for a while. And then we're going to come back.
Some
And
kind of a reward or
yeah. And then when I was clearing out the bookshelves in the living room where the TV is, I'm like, oh, I can watch while I'm clearing out. So
well, also to make a game out of it, make it fun, where you, if it's, like you're boxing up stuffed animals, you could play basketball with them, and shooting them into the box, or, how quickly can you pack something up?
Yeah, I did that a lot when we were did just general cleanup when my kids were very young, setting timers, seeing how fast they could do things, which makes me think about, you talked about you've been going through your office and finding these things and all the memories, is giving yourself time to reminisce and maybe even setting a timer.
Yeah, manage that time.
And then moving forward, because I can easily get lost in, oh, wow, I remember this and I remember that in the middle of trying to clear things out.
Well, the other thing could be to make a box of memory items to put aside, to be able to even take with you, that you can open up there and go through it once you've moved, or you put it all together at one time and take your break hour or whatever that you're going to do and go through it then, versus doing it right at the moment, so you keep on track.
And one thing to save time is having boxes, bags, laundry baskets. And when we started, I went ahead and got some bags. One was trash, one was donate. And I'm trying to think if I put some other things in a bag to sell.
I'll be doing garage sale.
Yeah. So I just started putting them in, and that way the donate bags, you just went ahead and took off to donate to get them out of the space, kind of sorting them to begin with. It's like with the games, we've got some definite keeps, and I'm going to put them on a shelf and kind of make a note. This is all keep. And then other ones I'm going to list to sell. So we're clearing out clutter and thinking about how clearing our mind, just like we accumulate things. I mean, I've been on this earth 53 years and you a little bit longer. And we've been in this house for 22. And we have shelves full of books and notebooks and games and toys and clothing, all these items that we've collected and accumulated. And some of them are actively used, just like there's files in our brain with thoughts that we're actively using. And then there's the clutter that's sitting in the back that kind of overwhelms us, feeling like we have all this stuff and we don't know what to do with it, random thoughts that happen. So what can we do about all the clutter going around?
Well, one is the taking the breaks, I think, is very important. Getting out, walking outside for even for 5 minutes, even in the heat we're having now, it doesn't
Get
hurt
some
to step
fresh
out,
air,
just
get
to
away from the
take some
dust.
deep breaths. Like I say, paying attention to what you're thinking and what you're saying to yourself is very important. Being able to do stretching and still keep up your exercising, not giving up on that, because it's important for your mental health as well as your physical health. And at this time, especially when you're having to load a truck or carry boxes around, you want to have your health and your strength. So you want to keep up the exercise part of it.
And knowing sometimes we need rest. I felt run down recently. There's been so much going on with my dad was in the hospital and rehab and trying to coordinate with my siblings and my mom ideas with help and doing research. And then we started this process of looking at moving. And I've been sleeping a lot more and realizing my body, I need the rest. I'm tired and recognizing that and working to not beat myself up and knowing, okay, I'm just tired and I need to sleep.
Well, when you talked about the 15-minute, and I found when I was in working in the business world, I guess, somebody came up with the idea of splitting an hour into quarterly segments, which would be 15-minute segments. And what they were saying in that was 15 minutes, you do one project or one thing. And next 15 minutes, you do something different. You stop that, do something different. And each quarter, you do something different. It could be a rest in there. It could be a breather, getting outside, whatever. But so it takes an hour and splits it down into 15-minute increments. So it's expanding a little bit on what you were talking about.
And the other idea is knowing what works for you. I'm the kind of person that will dive into something and just focus on it and realizing different things work for different people. I remember I said to you, I wanted to focus on one bookshelf at a time. And your thought was, well, we can't just do one thing at a time. And yet, knowing, okay, the way I do it is going to look differently than the way you do it. And I've got to honor where I'm at and how my brain works and what I can handle so that I can be focused to accomplish clearing out some of this clutter, and knowing sometimes it helps me to work with somebody, helps move me along in the process.
Well, yeah, and clearing the mind is working with a therapist if you already are, or getting somebody that you can lay out stuff with, maybe other than even your partner, somebody kind of a third party that isn't involved in it, to be able to vent if you need to, because like I said, it's overwhelming. What we're going through right now is very overwhelming, and being able to express that is, I think, important part of clutter, getting rid of the clutter in the mind too.
So how about we share with our listeners? And if you're watching this on YouTube, or be sure to jump in. We're going to do a little tapping right now to clear out, and we'll just stick with the topic of clearing out the house, clearing out clutter, as other people might be doing this in the summertime.
Okay.
And
well, I always like to start out with some good deep breaths. I like to take it in, hold it in just for a couple of seconds, and then let it out really slow. And as you let it out, let this drop, let yourself kind of melt into the chair.
let your shoulders relax.
Yep. Let the tension go. You can even kind of move the neck around a little bit, just kind of loosen up.
Deep breath in, hold, blow it out. Drop your shoulders. Loosen up the muscles. Relax your head.
A little bit.
One more time. Deep breath in. Hold. Blow out.
All right, we're going to start on the edge of the hand.
So you take your two fingers and you touch
Yeah, it
the
doesn't matter
pinky
which one.
side of your hand.
One.
I learned a different method of this years ago where you karate
Oh,
chop your side of your hand into your palm. So I'm
I
going to,
simplified it.
I'm-
Either way is
there's
fine.
two different
It still
ways to
works,
do it.
even though
Even though
I have so much to do
I have so much to do
and things to go through.
and things to go through,
It's overwhelming.
it can feel overwhelming.
I've got a lot of things that are clutter,
I've got a lot of clutter.
and I need to get past that clutter
I need to get past the clutter
because we're moving.
because we're moving.
Even though that may be true,
Even though that may be true,
I still want to remember
I still want to remember
and be open to
and be open to
clearing the clutter in my mind.
clearing the clutter in my mind.
I'll let you take a little bit here if you want.
Okay. Even though there's so many thoughts racing through my mind,
So many thoughts racing through my mind.
and sometimes I feel overwhelmed thinking about all the things that need to be taken care of.
And sometimes I feel overwhelmed, but thinking about all the things that need to be taken care of.
Even though I'm having all these feelings, this frustration, this anxiety over all of this,
Even though I'm having all these feelings of frustration, anxiety over all of this.
even though all that may be true,
No,
I completely and totally love and accept myself.
even though
All of that may be true.
all of that may be true, I totally and completely love and accept myself anyway.
And then we're going to move forward. You tap between your eyebrows on your forehead.
All this clutter,
All this clutter.
it's so overwhelming.
It's overwhelming.
Too much to do,
Too much to do.
not enough time.
You tap on the side of your eyebrows. Overwhelmed.
Not enough time.
Underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed.
Perfectly whelmed.
Overwhelmed.
And then you tap under your eyes with two fingers. All these things running through my head.
All these things running through my head.
All this stuff in my house.
This stuff in my house.
Now you move your two fingers under your nose,
Either way.
between your lip and your nose. Clutter, stuff,
Stuff.
junk,
Too much stuff.
too much stuff, junk.
Junk.
And then you go to your chin, kind of the indent area of your chin. A lot to do.
Too much to do.
So much to do. And then you go to your collarbones.
Will I get it all done?
Will I get it all done?
There's so much to do.
There's so much to do. How will I get it all done?
Very little time.
Little time,
Got so many things to think about.
so many things to think about.
Then we go under the arm, about 4 inches down from the tip.
Even though I'm having all these thoughts,
I'm having these thoughts.
I can choose to do one thing at a time.
I choose to do one thing at a time.
Even though it feels like too much,
It feels like too much.
I can do one thing at a time. And then you tap on the top of your head.
I trust in myself.
I trust in myself.
I can get these things done.
I can get these things done.
I've done it before.
I've done it before,
And it felt this way then too.
and it felt this way then too,
But we got it done.
but we got it done.
So I trust myself.
I trust myself.
Let's move here to above the eye. We can get this done.
We can get this done.
It's a lot
It's a lot,
and it's overwhelming,
and it's overwhelming,
but we can get this done.
yet we can get this done. Side of the eyes. We can take things one step at a time.
One step at a time.
We can make a list of what we have to do,
The list.
which I did. And when I looked at it, I realized it wasn't as much as I was imagining it to be. Taking things one step at a time.
Taking things one step at a time.
Clearing out one room at a time,
Taking one step at a time.
one bookshelf at a time.
Oh, I got a double tap on that one.
And as you're tapping, if your mind comes up with objections, as you said, we did this before and we got through it. I went back to when we moved here and how we waited till the last minute to pack and how overwhelmed that felt.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to do that again. So
Call it resistance.
you
that
can
comes
circle
up.
back around, even though I may have procrastinated a lot in the past, even though I wasn't happy with how I postponed things the last time we moved, even though that may be true. I can choose differently this time. I can make new choices. I have grown children to help. I don't have a toddler like when we moved the last time. And I can breathe. And I can remember to take care of myself and take care of my mind. I can write and release the clutter. Clear out one thing at a time.
I can release the mind clutter.
I can release the mind clutter.
It's overwhelming,
It can be overwhelming,
yet I can release it.
yet I can release it.
First, I have to accept it.
First, I need to accept it.
These are the things I'm saying to myself.
These are things I am saying to myself.
That's based on history.
That's based on history.
I can release that.
I can release that now and move into the present. One step at a time.
Once.
It's always good to take a nice deep breath when you're done, putting your hands open and at your sides. Breathing in through your nose, slowly and deeply, holding, and then breathing out. Breathing deeply in through your nose and breathing out through pursed lips like you're blowing out candles. Actually increases the oxygen proliferation in your body. I see that working in rehab. And so for me, because we've been in the middle of all this, there's more coming up for me.
Yeah. So check in with yourself here at this point.
And
what's going on for you? What's coming up? How you're feeling about things? Has it gone up or has it come down?
yeah, it's good to look at your anxiety before you get started.
Yeah.
You would ask, when we bring up this idea, this story, this problem, how high on a SUDS level of 0 to 10 does the anxiety for you? And then looking at after you've tapped, where is it at now? And you kind of move forward. And to learn more about EFT and tapping, where did they go, Don?
Well, you can go to our site, Focused Healthy Family, and there you'll see a button that says EFT, and you can find out more about that. That's my practice, my individual practice, but I also incorporate it into our family program that we do, because of course, as helping parents, we the first thing we want to work on with them is helping them declutter the mind.
Yeah, if we're going to help our children to move forward and work on their areas, we've got to work on ourselves first. And so on the website, you have links to videos where they can go through
see some tapping there. You can actually up there you can actually download our manual or guide that I made that talks about EFT, but it also talks about grounding. It talks about communication. It does a lot. There's a lot there. So you go up there and let's look for the link for downloading the family guide. You can also sign up for our Tuesday tips, which we give a lot of these different parent and family tips, even individual tips for that matter. A lot of these fit for anybody.
So you can receive that via email, and you can also check out the podcast on Tuesdays, where we audio a short 15-minute or less podcast, just focusing on one of those tips. I'd like to do one last thing here before we wrap up. One thing I learned from the EFT practitioner that we both worked with and learned from is tapping up positive vibes, right? So we touched on some heaviness, some things that can be overwhelming and bringing up thoughts and things. And we can also tap up, positive energy before you move into something. So let's see how I can set this up. Even though there's a lot on our plate,
Even though there's a lot on our plate.
I'm so excited about the possibilities and opportunities.
I'm so excited about the possibilities and opportunities.
So even though there's a lot on our plate,
Even though there's a lot on our plate,
I'm so excited about the possibilities and opportunities.
I'm so excited about the possibilities and opportunities.
So even though there's a lot on our plate,
Even though there's a lot on our plate,
I'm so excited about the possibilities and opportunities.
I'm so excited about the possibilities and opportunities.
Clearing out all this stuff,
Clearing out all this stuff,
discovering things we didn't know we had,
discovering things we didn't know we had,
the freedom of releasing things we don't need,
freedom of releasing things we don't need,
selling things and
selling things,
earning some money,
earning some money,
empowering my child to help with organization and learning these skills,
empowering our family to learn skills of how to declutter and all kinds of good,
sharing wonderful memories,
sharing wonderful memories,
the improvement in our space from decluttering,
the improvement in space from decluttering,
clearing our space, clearing our mind,
clearing our space, clearing our mind,
cleaning out the clutter, releasing what we don't need,
releasing what we don't need,
releasing what we don't need,
releasing what we don't need.
all the new exciting opportunities and possibilities,
The new and exciting possibilities and opportunities,
all the added space we'll have when we clean out the clutter,
all the added space we'll have when we clean out the clutter,
new possibilities,
new possibilities,
exciting opportunities.
exciting opportunities. I'm open to those
I'm
possibilities
open to the possibilities.
and the excitement.
I am open and ready for the possibilities and the excitement. Yeah, for me, it took me out of I was kind of amped up from the prior tapping to like, yeah, this is a good thing. This is powerful. And
I always tell people not to get worried if the anxieties raises.
mhm.
Either way it goes is okay, because if it's raising, that means you really are hitting on something that's more like a core of the issue,
You need to move through it.
and you need to move
And maybe
through it.
you have some
don't
things
stop.
that have
Yeah.
been buried and they need to be released. They need to be let out, because these anxieties, if we internalize them and don't release them, they become illness in our body.
And it's like I always tell people, it's like a balloon underwater. It's just going to keep coming back up. And if it goes down, we're releasing and we're feeling good about releasing. So if it goes up, just keep going. I always tell people to move towards what's coming up and work through it.
And if you have particular past history with abuse or special issues, be sure to work with a therapist, be sure to work with a trained practitioner and get the support and the help that you need. But this can be an easy tool for a simple task of, I'm going to clean the garage today, and just the fears and worries about it, or we're going on vacation, we need to pack, or getting ready for school. And if you'd love to learn more, be sure to check out the website. Be sure to reach out to Don. Check out the videos where you can kind of learn more of the tapping skills. So that's our podcast on decluttering. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you've cleared out a little space in your mind for new possibilities. We'd love to hear from you. Please leave a comment here. Follow us on Facebook. Follow me on Instagram, gina.focusedhealthyfamily. Check out our parent coaching program or upcoming workshops at focusedhealthyfamily.com. And remember, how you speak to your children shapes their future and yours.